It's fun for the whole family. The Spy X family. You can kill me now. So these are the SH Figuarts Spy X family figures of the Folgers, Anya, Lloyd, and Yor. SH Figuarts is the toy line that gave rise to SH Monster Arts. Instead of kaiju, they mostly focus on more human characters, like from anime and movies, except if it's Ultraman for some reason. And today, we're going to be taking a look at the important family behind Operation Strix. But before we go any further, I'd like to say that I'll be only looking at the first figures of the Folgers that have been released, which means that I won't be taking a look at Anya's school uniform figure and the casual outfit figures of Lloyd and Yor. Also, I didn't get Bond, so this whole operation's already screwed for Lloyd and Anya, so let's get into it. The painting and sculpting for these figures is great. Now I'll start off by giving an overview of the figures before going into them individually. Each of them looks like they came straight out of the show. They don't look overly realistic or too simple. These are perfect looking representations of the characters with a few minor touches of detail added. For example, the gold around Anya's hair ornaments, Lloyd's wise pin on his suit, and the gold accessories on Yor are all done very well. If I were to describe how well each of them look, it'd be just right. You know, like Goldilocks. Now going over each one, Anya's the most simple out of the three in terms of design. Her emerald green eyes and pink hair is what sticks out from it. There are also some small spots of pink fading at the bottom that keeps it from looking like a piece of bubblegum. This is the contrast from her black gown with sculpted in wrinkles on her sleeves, a white bow at the front, and little socks and shoes. Yeah, that's cute and all, but I'm not really sure why they chose to release her casual outfit first instead of her school uniform. I asked this because that outfit is used in a lot of promotional material for the show, and is a lot more fitting when paired with her parents, since both of them are wearing what they use while they're on the job. So with all of them together, there's a lot less of a contrast. However, with this outfit, she looks a bit out of place. It's as if the releases were swapped. As for Lloyd and Yor, they're the more detailed out of the three. Lloyd has sapphire blue eyes and short blonde hair that are dark at the sides. Along with this, his sharp looking green suit has more sculpted in details, like the various wrinkles around his body, the inner shirt sleeves, the front buttons, the pockets, his white shirt with his accompanying red tie, and finally carrying over to his shoes, having sculpted in laces. The vest is also in a darker shade of green compared to the rest of the suit. Twilight's looking pretty good. And as for Yor, she has ruby red eyes and dark black hair with sculpted in braids at the back and golden accessories adorning her head. To complement this, her dress is equally as elegant. Both her boots and the dress itself are colored in black. However, the inside of the dress is colored in red with a sculpted in rose pattern. To add onto this, the bottom of the boots are also painted red. Yeah, this looks a bit intimidating. So overall, the Folgers look really great. I'm glad that these figures captured their looks from the show. Now, the articulation of these figures are very different from one another. We'll start off with Anya. Her head can swivel, but she can't look up or down too well due to the way her hair is sculpted. The shoulders can rotate and can move in and out. The elbows can bend, and the hands can rotate at the wrists. Now, the lower half of Anya is very limited. Her hips can move around, but are very loose and restricted because of her dress. However, there are seams on the sides, which you'd think would allow the legs to move much better, but the material used for the dress is very stiff. Theoretically, you could use a hairdryer to heat up the dress to become more flexible, but I'm not gonna risk that. Lastly, the knees and ankles can all bend and swivel. The poseability of Anya is unfortunately very limited. Her whole body is essentially a brick. I think the reason why they chose not to add more articulation is that the joint might break the sculpt. Well, I think I would have taken that trade-off because the poor child can't even sit down. Unless, of course, you get the Anya figure included with the SH Figuarts Bond, which comes with an alternate waist part that actually allows her to sit. I will continue to beat myself up for jumping the gun. Another problem this figure has is the fact that its fat head keeps it from standing up straight, and the legs aren't lined up properly. This might be due to the legs probably having a shifting thigh joint, which is a similar problem Lloyd has when we'll get to him later. If you're wondering why I sound a bit different, that's because I'm recovering from being sick. However, on the other hand, Lloyd and Yor's articulation are far step above Anya's. They're mostly the same, so I'll be using Lloyd to show it off. His head has a wide range of movement, but it's actually thanks to the neck, which is also on a ball joint, although it can be hard to tell due to the joints moving in tandem with each other. Now, his shoulders are something that I've had a lot of trouble with, so the shoulders can move in and out. However, their connection to the body, at least on my copy, is very loose. The entire shoulder on one side tends to pop out, while the other leaves a gap in between the body. Now, I think I might know the reason behind this. The ball joints for the neck and the arms are all stuck in one place on this block within the body. Now, I'm no toy engineer, but I think this problem could have been avoided if the ball joints weren't stuck in place. Yor doesn't have this problem as her shoulders are connected to a ball joint and has much better range.
This part of Yor's dress can also move up and down, but be careful cause it might untab.
Moving on, the arms can rotate and can move in and out. The elbows can bend, and the wrists, along with the hands, can rotate. His chest can't really crunch or arc back, but it can rotate really well. Yor's chest doesn't seem to have that issue, however.
Also, while filming, I noticed the split at the seam here, which wasn't there the last time I checked, so be careful if this ever happens to you.
The thighs can swivel and shift, but I've only seen this done on the left leg. The right leg could do the same, but I don't want to risk the joint breaking. Yor doesn't seem to have that, and I don't want to know if she does.
Now, like Anya, his legs aren't lined up properly, and because of that shifting thigh joint, his leg is a bit wobbly.
The legs can also spread and move back and forth, and thanks to the material used for Yor's dress, the legs aren't restricted by it.
And also because it's split into 3 sections.
The knees can bend, but it's only on a single joint. I think Lloyd and Yor would have benefited off of another knee joint. The ankle can swivel and bend, but the sculpting of the pant legs gets in the way. Yor doesn't have this problem, however, and the toes can bend. The poseability on Lloyd and Yor is much better than Anya, but I feel if so there should have been more, like another bend at the elbows and knees. Despite this, the figures can still pull off some pretty great poses, so overall, the articulation for both of them is great.
Now, one thing you won't be seeing before we get into the accessories are stands. Some of them have difficulty standing on their own, like Anya as I mentioned before. Others, like Thorn Princess over here, have a hard time standing up, either for certain periods of time or in certain poses without the use of some aid due to her high heels. Which is why a lot of the footage you see in this video was done either using a stand or sticky tack. Except for this one. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't include stands when Sailor Moon got one for herself. It's not impossible to stand these figures up. In fact, Lloyd is much easier to stand compared to the others. But it's not easy either. There we go.
As for accessories, they're mostly hands and faces.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't come with these bags, so you're gonna have to buy them yourselves. And if you want to get them yourselves, the dimensions are roughly 4x9.
Firstly, Anya comes with a few pairs of hands. She comes with open hands, relaxed hands, and fists. Yeah, given just how small Anya is, it's absolutely terrifying having to deal with changing out her hands. You really don't want to lose these. Next, you get her additional faces. She comes with an open mouth smile, a curious face, a shocked face, a scheming smug face, and her famous heh face. You can't have an Anya figure without this face. As for Lloyd, you actually get 2 separate sets of hands, one with and without gloves. You get open hands, trigger finger hands, and fists. The trigger finger hands allows Lloyd to hold this gun, however they all have a loose grip. Looks like Twilight's starting to get rusty.
Now, I don't know if this happens to anyone else's copies, but be careful when removing the hands, because if you do, there might be a chance that the joint splits in 2. The problem seems to occur on the right hand. The left hand is completely fine, but I highly suggest you be careful with these because last time I checked, SH Figuarts doesn't hand out replacement joints.
He also comes with additional faces. He has a neutral face, an open-eyed smile, a closed-eyed smile, a shocked face, and a yelling face. Lastly, for Yor, you get 3 pairs of hands. You get loose hands, holding hands, and fists. These holding hands allow her to hold her signature stiletto daggers. The neat part about these hands is the fact that they all have painted fingernails. She also comes with additional faces. You get a closed-mouth smile, an open-mouth smile, a closed-eyed frown, a shocked face, and a stern-looking face.
There's also a small skeleton in tear on the frowning face, which is a nice touch in detail.
The accessories overall are not bad. It's great that the figures come with a lot of faceplates, considering the characters are very expressive in the show. However, it would have been nice if the characters had more accessories outside of alternate body parts. No chimera, penguin, bag of peanuts, or a silent pistol for Anya, no hat or a pair of glasses for Lloyd, and for Yor, well, I don't know what else she'd come with. Well, at least she'll come with some wine when her alternate outfit figure comes out. Finally, let's scale them out. Anya's extremely tiny at 3 inches, whereas Lloyd's at 6.5 inches, with Yor being slightly shorter. Here they are next to the Figma Sakya Izuyoi, the NECA SOS Goji, and the Amber Collection Velociraptor. So, should you get these figures? Yes, but I recommend getting all 3. Each of these figures are good on their own, but they feel incomplete without each other. How else is Operation Strix gonna happen? Well, Anya goes for around $45, which even I think is a bit much, whereas Lloyd and Yor both go for between $50 to $70. Despite this, these characters feel like they're meant to be bought together, and I think that's what makes getting them all so worth it. When put together, they really put the family in Spy X Family. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that'll be. Okay, we got figures of Becky and Desmond. All we need now are figures of Yuri, Fiona, and my boy Frankie. And maybe the handler too, I don't know.